We're back with my 1965 F100. It is having a little bit of a problem. Had some spark issues, had some fuel issues coming out of the carburetor. Did some testing. Let me show you what we're installing today. I have a spacer. This is an aluminum spacer, and I have a new Holley HP 650 double pumper I'm gonna be throwing in. What happened with the Edelbrock carb was I have an electric fuel pump because I'm gonna go boost later. And the electric fuel pump, even though I had the pressure turned down, was filling the bowl here with fuel, which was it means it's getting past the needle, and or maybe the balloon inside is failing, to shut off, allowing fuel in, and then it was leaking out here as well. So instead of taking this apart and spending an hour or so trying to reseal it or replace parts, I'm just gonna replace it with the new Holley 650 I've had it sitting in my garage for some time. For those of you who haven't done this before, it's relatively easy to replace the carburetor. You have some bolts here, and on the back as well. I have some vacuum lines I'm gonna unplug. Here's my fuel line. I'm gonna unplug that. And then this will literally come right off. I'm gonna put the new one on and make all my connections, and I'll show you what that looks like.
Here's a sped up video in 4X showing me removing the 4 bolts, vacuum lines, choke cable, as well as the throttle cable, which I struggle with a little bit on the right side there.
New carb. This is pretty. It's a Holley HP 650 CFM double pumper carburetor. Now, this is a newer carburetor that someone had this plate milled off here, so you notice there's no choke on it, and that's specifically for running boost. So although my turbocharger is not installed, clearly, I'm gonna need this carb anyway. So I figured instead of messing with the old carb, let's just put in the new pretty one. Don't we like it shiny? We got clear glass here, so I could see the gas as it fills up in the metering blocks. Everything is just gorgeous on this thing. It's polished out, super clean, all the jets in there. I mean, look at that baby. What? It's just screaming to be wide open here. Oh man. So let's get this installed. It's gonna go in just like this. And I need to clean out the ports here because I spilled some gas, but that's all done. So I think we're ready to get this guy in. Just a quick side-by-side comparison in case anyone was like, what does this look like? What are the sizes? They're actually very similar in size. The bolt holes pattern is similar. Just the ports are a little bit different. So you have a vacuum here. This was on the front of the Edelbrock, and I had another vacuum port here on the back. On here, there's not really any vacuum ports, as you could see. So in order to get around that, I'm gonna take a vacuum port off the intake manifold because I have holes there. And then I got this 1-inch aluminum spacer from Speedway Motors, and it's already tapped so I could put my fitting in there for my brake booster. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna run this at the back so I have vacuum for the brake booster, and then I'll have a fitting coming off the intake manifold to pull vacuum otherwise. So you see I got right there, it's closed off, but I can pull vacuum from there or some other areas. I have to take out the remainder of these studs. I'm just gonna use the crescent wrench here to wiggle it out, and I'll get this unbolted so that can be ready for vacuum as well. I got all new hardware in case you didn't see it. And this part I want to call out specifically. Yellow goes with my fuel resistant gasket maker. These are fuel safe products, meaning where my fuel line's gonna connect, I'm gonna wrap a little yellow tape. I'm gonna use the gasket maker, which is fuel resistant by Permatex. Make sure you pay attention to that. For the vacuum parts though, connecting these, I can use just regular white PTFE tape to make sure there's no loss of vacuum. And of course I have new gaskets for everything to hook this all together. I'm just dry fitting everything right now to check for clearances. The carb is touching the HEI module, so I'm glad I got an upgraded distributor. That'll solve this issue because this thing is so big. It'll move it in another inch, and size-wise we're good. I test fitted the spacers I use with my big filter. Everything fits fine. I now have an additional 1-inch spacer here. So everything looks good, and I have my vacuum down here with plenty of operating space as well. So I think we're good. I can actually mount this. So let's get that done. I gotta seal and install these fuel fittings. They're just dry fit right now, and get those ready for my AN connector. All right, so I got some video assembling this. Just to note, It's dash 8AN line, if anyone's asking. This fitting is an extension, and it comes with a washer here and an O-ring. I'm still going to be safe because I don't want any fires in the engine. I've had gas leak before from everywhere that's had O-rings and you name it. So I am going to put just a little bit of the Permatex. This is gasket maker. You see it says fuel resistant specifically. You have to make sure you use that when assembling this. So let's get some time lapse in, but essentially, these go here on the edge. This will connect like that. And then I have my outline here running to the fuel pressure regulator, and I'll show you how I hook that up in the truck.
So I'm just using a little bit of the fuel resistant gasket maker to connect the extension tubes to the carb, and now I'm getting ready to hook up my dash 8AN lines, snugging them up.
I did have to make a trip to the hardware store, the car parts store, to get a straight connection here and get an adapter for here so I can run vacuum line. So this is a vacuum boost reference gauge that'll be later hooked up for turbo purposes, but I just have it running for now so I can check vacuum on the system. This is for my oil catch can, and then this is for my power brakes. So had to get adapters for that. Even though it's a quick video, obviously I run into my own problems. Let's keep assembling.
Okay, so I got my gasket and spacers on. I got all my gaskets, putting the carb on, bolting it in, making sure I crisscross, tighten up the carb as I go, working on some fuel line stuff. Here we go, tightening down the carb. I hand tighten, then come back with the ratchet crisscross so I make sure it's even pressure around the carb that's applied. Now I'm adjusting and installing the throttle cable to the throttle linkage on the carb, and had to make some little adjustments there, but I'm getting it and snugging it down. Here I'm test fitting the spacers for the top of the filter as well as my all thread.
Okay, so I think we got everything buttoned up. So to recap, take off the old carb. I had to take off the old, I believe this is a 1/4 by 24, I could be wrong, but the all thread that went in the intake manifold. So removed all the old stuff basically. I got the new carb prepped with the fuel extension lines, the fuel connector here because it's filling both bowls. And this is a Holley HP double pumper 650. And so 8-8AN line, braided line is running here. All of these fittings were specifically made so you do not need fuel resistant gasket maker on it, so I left those alone, but I tightened everything snug. I got a separate fuel meter on here, and then this runs to my Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator over there. So I think otherwise we're all set. I got that ready. Everything's tightened up, so it's time to test fire. I've addressed all the leaks. Let's see how she fires and how she sounds here. Oh, nice. Fired right up. Look at that. Brand new car, cold start. That thing just fired right up. Get the paper towels out of here. Let's give her some revs. She is cold, so I can't go crazy. So that wraps up my Saturday because that took a couple hours to go to the hardware store, get some parts, come on back, mess around, make sure everything fits perfectly and runs good. Just had to get the filter on at the top and we're good to go. Check me on the next video and I'll show you how to get the distributor in.